or something. All right, we are back to live.
Back?
Sorry, everybody. My something blew up on my block.
Something literally blew
somewhere.
up. I went live like really quickly for a minute to let people know that what you had texted me.
Yeah.
Like all I got was whole blocks out. Like everything's dark. So
No, that
happy
just
to
means
hear
I
that.
need to get a. Well, I guess that wouldn't have even helped. Yeah.
Damn, we had plenty of questions and plenty of people in here.
Yeah, we're just gonna
fortunate that
continue
happened.
off from when we left off. I still have the old chat up here. What's going? Hey, Corey, if you come back, what's going on? if you come back,
Going on. Yeah, if you come back, everybody's
Kenneth,
probably
we
like,
left
what the
off
hell?
with you. We love that trade for you. We were talking a little bit about Derrick Henry, I believe.
Derrick Henry for Diggs, 2 seconds and a third.
Yeah.
Big, basically a big fan. I think I was saying my piece like about it, but pretty much before everything fell apart. Somebody on your block needs to pay better attention to their stuff, apparently.
Pretty much.
Like,
Let me
come on,
adjust
people.
this thumbnail and
Do your thing.
yeah.
Yeah, so apologies. Thanks to everybody as we start to get some people trickling back in. Sorry about that. That was for the first time something I think we can definitively say was out of our hands.
Yes. I cannot control when things blow up on my block.
Cannot control
Yes.
explosions, courtesy of other people. So thanks, people. But yeah, there was I lost the old chat, so I'm not seeing it.
Next
right
up,
this-
we had a comment from Sad J Cutler. What's going on, Sad J? What's up, fellas? I've been easing into full PPR mock drafts for next year and have been surprised at how low Amon-Ra St. Brown is. Am I missing something? I mean, no. If he's low, buy in. If people are low on him because they think, oh, DeAndre Swift and Hawk weren't there and that's why he went off and they're going to draft another wide receiver and Jared Goff ain't that good, buy in. What is his ADP right now?
I'm looking it up on Underdog right now. I think it's around the 6th round. No, it's his ADP is 51. How is his projection only 19.4 points? That's silly. So his ADP is 51. So in 12-team drafts, I mean, you still have to. You got to spend a 4th round pick if you want to secure him. I would say that that's pretty reasonable, I would think, for Amon-Ra. I mean, now this is on Underdog. This is one platform, Jay. I'm not sure where you're playing or what you're seeing as far as Amon-Ra's ADP. But I mean, a top 50 pick sounds about right for Amon-Ra, because there is some uncertainty. How much of a target share is he going to have when DeAndre Swift is fully healthy, when TJ Hawkinson is fully healthy, if he's not getting hyper targeted, because not only, like you said, John, like not only are those two guys back, but they draft somebody and becomes a part of the offense. I think that sounds about right. A top 50 pick.
Yeah, I mean, he showed enough to still be their number one, and we've seen from Jared Goff that while he isn't the greatest NFL quarterback, on the Rams, he still supported top 12, top 10 fantasy options in Kupp and Woods. One time, Kupp was the wide receiver 4. Woods was always a high-end wide receiver 2, low-end wide receiver 1. So, yeah, I would buy into Amon-Ra St. Brown based on the narrative that there is about him.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I guess I would like the other thing I want to see actually is who are the guys that are going kind of around him. Okay, so let me just start at Zeke's ADP is already all the way down to 43.7. How about that? But after him, it's Herbert, who is the QB3 off the board. Tyler Lockett, Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Elijah Mitchell, and then Lamar Jackson, then Amon-Ra, followed by Travis Etienne, who's coming off a season-ending injury or an injury where he missed the whole season. Josh Jacobs, Chris Godwin coming off an ACL.
Yeah, the only problem about
Devontae
where
Smith.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is going is based on the way that I'm probably going to be drafting. probably going to be hitting on running back there.
Well, I think I'd be more inclined to take a shot on a guy like Godwin at that point, even though I might not be able to rely on him, say, the first month of the season if he's still rehabbing, just because the injury happened late. The ceiling's still higher. I'd still have him for, say, the last 12 games of the year, at a semi worst case scenario. That's not even worst case. It's just what we kind of expect, and that's why Godwin's ADP is down a little bit. But he's a guy I think even though coming off an injury, Chris Godwin is just he's a couple of years removed from being the wide receiver 2 on the season. Could Amon-Ra do that? Well, he was on a pretty damn good pace the last 8 games
Winston,
of the year.
It wasn't even with Tom Brady.
It was with Jameis. So Godwin, one, has his pick of options of where to go this year. So he's going to be able to, obviously salary cap is factored in, but he's essentially going to be able to choose his quarterback. And there's enough time. There's enough
to the Chargers who have enough space for him.
Forget about it.
Yeah, there are a couple of options out there that I really like.
15 spots, even if we know he's going to miss the first few games of the year.
Yep.
So that's the thing. I'm not anti Amon-Ra. It's just that there's some players around there. Now, would I take him over, say, Elijah Moore? You could make that argument. I mean, both of them look pretty good
because they both have the same narratives. There's going to be another person brought in,
similar narratives,
across from them. And the Jets, they're going to be drafting higher. There are rumors that Drake London is their guy right now, and they're going to go out and get Drake London to pair with Elijah Moore. So, yeah, I would rather have Amon-Ra St. Brown because I think the competition they're going to be bringing in will be lesser.
This is I think the interesting conversation to have. Amon-Ra or Tyler Lockett, because Tyler Lockett's going about 4 spots higher.
Amon-Ra.
Okay. Russell Wilson is back in Seattle. Amon-Ra or Tyler Lockett?
Amon-Ra.
Dang. Okay. There you go.
I've never been the biggest Tyler Lockett fan, though. I have to caveat it with that. He was never a guy that I was particularly attracted to in fantasy. I understood his value, but he was too much of a question mark week to week for me to really dig into Tyler Lockett.
Now, I know you're bullish on Elijah Mitchell. He's going only 2 spots higher than Amon-Ra. So that might be a smash spot for you for, say, someone like Elijah Mitchell.
Yes.
Especially if
that's why I said that at this range, I'm probably going to be going running back based off of the names that you named.
So a Mitchell, a Travis Etienne, the running
Mitchell
backs in
Etienne
that range
are 2 of my targets. And you said Josh Jacobs a little later.
Josh Jacobs is a little later.
He's going to be a guy that's going to have a significant workload.
And then 10 spots down. Yeah. 10 spots down is Breece Hall.
Yeah. So at that point, at around where Amon-Ra is being drafted, I'm probably going to go for another position, running back. But I don't hate the ADP there.
Mm-hmm.
And I would also agree with you. I would go Chris Godwin over Amon-Ra. Easy.
Godwin, that one I feel definitively good about. And Callum, what's going on? Kenneth, sorry, we had apologies about the earlier stream if anybody missed it. John had a big old power outage that shut down the whole block because apparently
I gotta get some uninterruptible power supplies on everything.
Yeah, apparently.
I haven't done that yet.
No, unfortunately, that was out of our control. Nobody hit any buttons that accidentally closed it down. We were dealing with forces that we had no control over. So appreciate anybody who's popping back in despite that little hiccup.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, Kenneth, long story short, we really like the trade for you. I mean, I like Derrick Henry, but I mean, you're talking about maybe only a couple more years left of elite production, if that. Whereas Diggs probably has 3 or 4 elite more years.
You were talking about him being within 150 touches of a certain threshold, where
the 1,800
every running back that has hit that threshold has immediately begun their decline.
Pretty much, like anybody not named Emmitt Smith, once they hit 1,800 career carries, it's like it's all over. But but the fat lady's singing basically. Like, and the two guys that are going to hit that. Well, I'm not sure if Derrick Henry's not going to hit it in 2022. Zeke will. Derrick Henry's going to hit it in 2023, assuming good health for both players. So I think Derrick Henry's an excellent sell high. I think Zeke is a get out now while you can type of player.
Yeah.
So yeah, good move. Good move, Kenneth.
And Will says, is Wentz a top 12 quarterback? Then he follows that up with, is Wentz a top 12 quarterback in Pittsburgh? Nick, don't be biased.
I mean, the potential is there. In Pittsburgh specifically, here's the thing. Here's my concern with Wentz in Pittsburgh. Yeah, he's got Najee. He's got Deontay Johnson. He's got Chase Claypool. Freiermuth. It's a great collection of talent, except for the offensive line. And Carson Wentz is a quarterback where if he's going to have any type of success whatsoever, he needs an offensive line to hold up, because that man has not learned how to play from the pocket, holding the ball too long and letting things break down because he wants to make a big play on every play. Look, there's lots of quarterbacks that play that way, but Wentz's skills in that regard have diminished because of the injuries that he has accumulated over his career.
Look,
and we
if
saw
Carson
that
Wentz
start to happen last year.
If Carson Wentz wasn't a top 12 quarterback in Indy, he's not going to be a top 12 quarterback in Pittsburgh.
I can understand. So it makes sense that he wasn't a top 12 quarterback in Indy because they just were handing the ball off to Taylor all year long. And to Wentz's credit, there was
they didn't utilize him in the pass game. They didn't fully maximize Michael Pittman in the pass game.
Really. Yeah.
Yes, they ran the ball a lot with Jonathan Taylor, but that was also out of necessity because
they were
Carson Wentz isn't a quarterback that can get it done. So no, even in fantasy, not a top 12 quarterback.
He had a good 6-week stretch. I think it was like weeks 4 to 10 or 4 to 9 or 3 to 9 or something like that. Yeah, he was a QB1. He was a QB1, but his play tailed off in the second half of the season, and he wasn't a reliable fantasy option. If he goes to Pittsburgh, is his environment better? I mean, from a overall collection of like pass catchers, yeah. I'm not sure that his style of play, though, works in Pittsburgh because that offensive line is still very much a work in progress. And Wentz is not the type of player who can escape the pocket anymore.
If there's one team that I want to see Mitchell Trubisky go to, it is that.
That would be an interesting spot.
I want to see Mitchell Trubisky with a stable organization, with a 2022 or at least modern offensive attack that just needs some help on the O-line. But with his escapability, to your points, I think he would be a good fit there. I think he could be a top 12 quarterback there.
Yeah.
Wentz, nah. Hot take.
That's not that hot of a take. It's just that I'm not you might call it bias or whatever, but I'm not a believer in Carson Wentz from a fantasy perspective. Maybe
That's
more so from
bias,
as an NFL quarterback perspective. Here's the problem. Again, he has not adapted. He has not adapted to the fact that he's not the player that he was when he was like a second-year player. Injuries have taken their toll on him very quickly, and he has not adapted, and it has hurt him. And it's going to be even worse. You think look at the offensive line he worked with in Indy. Now you want to which was one of the best in the league, if not the best.
That was my point.
You want to send him to
he
Pittsburgh?
He had all the time in the world to work there with his weapons, and he couldn't get it done. They had to hide him.
He's not a top 12 option if he goes to Pittsburgh, despite the fact that the overall collection of talent from a pass catching perspective is deeper in Pittsburgh than it is in Indianapolis. But it's just the offensive line, that's going to be a major issue for a player like Wentz. Yeah. You could I don't know if Will's still in here. You could say there's some bias. I am on the record of not being a fan of Carson Wentz, but
neither am I.
I don't think it matters at this point. He needs like as good of an environment around him as far as just like great talent all over the place for him to have success. And if there's a glaring issue, that's all that it takes for me to not have confidence. And in Pittsburgh, it's the offensive line. He's not top 12 in Pittsburgh.
But they should make that a priority in this upcoming draft. So.
Oh, this is a great offensive line class.
Yep.
is a fantastic offensive line class. Pittsburgh should, in theory, not have an issue upgrading this year.
But let's get finished with the old chat so we can move over to the new one. Sad J. Cutler says St. Brown is currently behind Judy, Renfro, Pittman, DJ Moore, and Elijah Moore, and even T. Higgins, Brandon Cooks, Calvin Ridley. I think I want St. Brown over all of them. I don't know about that, man. There is a fair amount of guys that I would rather have St. Brown over.
I think I'd rather have
Judy, rather have Renfro.
I don't know if I'd rather have Judy. I'll give him that. I'll give you that. I don't know about Judy just because I'm not sure what.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking of it the wrong way. It was the other way around. I mean, I would rather have St. Brown over Judy and Renfro, not over Pittman, not over DJ Moore, not over Elijah Moore, not over T. Higgins. I would rather have Brandon Cooks because I love Brandon Cooks.
So
but I would rather have.
You'd rather have Moore. Like you'd rather have Elijah Moore. I feel like those two are close.
I flip flop on that, man.
That's tough. That one's tough.
Elijah Moore, the talent, I like a lot more.
Sure.
The situation.
But Amon-Ra's situation feels almost better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather have Higgins. I depending on what happens with Carroll, I really like DJ Moore. We're both on the same page there. I think the reason it really hasn't all ever come together in a single season for DJ Moore has been because of his quarterbacks.
It's the quarterbacks. Yeah.
He has not had a good quarterback situation
ever
in his time in Carolina. It has not happened.
Nope.
Even though he has still flashed big playability. Pending what
and
Carolina
he's still young.
does.
He's turning 25.
Yeah, he's not old. Yeah, he's still coming into his own.
He's a year younger than Terry McLaurin, I believe.
I'd tentatively rather have DJ Moore, although as of today, right now, with Carolina's quarterback situation being a complete unknown, there's a case for Amon-Ra. There is. But I would definitively rather have T. Higgins. I would definitively rather have Michael Pittman. I don't know if I would definitively rather have Elijah Moore, but I think I lean Elijah Moore. A couple spots down Dynasty, is Michael Thomas.
In Dynasty, I know the situation is the situation, but you got to look at the talent because talent will rise to the top. I think I'd rather have Elijah Moore. If it's a redraft, that's where I go St. Brown. Because I think this next year will be better for St. Brown. But I do believe Elijah Moore will have, at least, if not equitable, a better fantasy career in the long term. Right.
Okay.
And Brandon Cooks in redraft, I'd rather have Brandon Cooks than St. Brown.
Cooks might get traded. Brandon Cooks might get traded, and it's not going to take much for him to improve on his situation, even though Davis Mills proved he can do a little something this year.
Right.
But Brandon Cooks could get traded to a better situation. And I just mentioned Michael Thomas is only a couple spots later. I think the time is now to pounce on Michael Thomas. Because I just so happened to put a video about him today. The vibes are trending up on Michael Thomas. So, Amon-Ra's an interesting case interesting case
He's
study.
An interesting fantasy player right now, for sure,
right.
Based off of ADP. But Jaws, let's wrap this up. Jaws, I figured that the Eagles would make a move for Deshaun Watson and hold on to Minshew for the legal trouble in the room.
They might. I mean, yes, they've been linked to Deshaun Watson.
I wouldn't hate that.
I mean,
he'd make your team a playoff contender immediately.
He's a top 5 quarterback when he plays, or top 7 minimum.
Yeah, and I'd like it for all your weapons. I'm a little bit scared of whoever the Eagles draft at wide receiver. I have to admit.
Why?
I don't know, because if they're gonna be rolling with Hurts for one more season, I don't think Hurts can support 3 fantasy relevant options in Devonta Smith, Goddard, and whoever they bring in. So there's rumors of them bringing in a guy like Treylon Burks or somebody like that. While I would love it for the team, for fantasy, that would hurt a little bit.
Treylon Burks is going to be a top 10 pick. I'm convinced. So the Eagles won't get a chance to draft him. I think Treylon Burks actually. You talked about the Jets earlier with Drake
London.
I think the Jets.
Well, then if the Drake London falls and goes to the Eagles, one of those guys is going to fall to go to the Eagles, and
well, then my concerns about Drake London are going to come true.
There you go.
Not just because of the player, but because of the situation. Although there are more people warming up to Drake London who I think are higher on him than I am.
It's some of these. I mean, they're high on his breakout age.
Yeah, he
and
went
while
out.
I used to be higher on breakout age, I'm not quite so high on breakout age because I've seen Rondale Moore fail up to this point. I've seen Brian Edwards fail up to this point.
Can't
these,
call Rondale Moore a fail yet. Just
yeah, but yes, I agree. But from what we've seen, I don't know.
He moved outside this year and he was better. He's a versatile player. He's got the size.
My problem with him is he's 5'7". He doesn't have size.
Yeah.
Thanks for the sub, man. Appreciate it.
London?
Alfonso,
are you talking about London?
Sub for me.
Are you talking about London?
No, I'm talking about Rondale.
Oh, Rondale.
Yeah,
got it.
No, London has.
I was like, London is
6'5".
not 5'7".
That might be all he has is size.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens. Is that all up? And thanks, Alfonso. Is that all of the old chat?
Yes. Yep. We are caught up.
Appreciate it.
Caught up to this current.
Yeah.
Current one.
Got it. One more time. Appreciate everybody's patience. The stream crapped out for us. There was something. The power went out on John's whole block, and it shut down our setup. So, we are back in action. So appreciate everybody kind of hopping back in and coming and staying and hanging out with us.
And Sad J, we got to your question. Thanks for coming back in. Caleb, Nick already said what's up, but what's up?
Yeah, what's going on? And as far as I'm on Raw due to age concerns. For Lockett, I'm not worried about Lockett. Is Lockett 30? I think he's gonna be 30. This man, I feel like Lockett was that type of dude who he was like 25 years old for like 4 straight years. He's gonna be 30 in September, at the end of September. I mean, that's not for a wide receiver, especially one like him. That's not an age I'm worried about. If he was 34, it'd be like, okay.
I think he probably has another 2 years until.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at a guy like.
Yeah.
While they're not the same players stylistically, Golden Tate was a decent wide receiver 3 for a while, a low-end wide receiver 3 on her team for probably 2 years there, and then he faded off. I think that's what
when that happened.
That's probably what Tyler Lockett can be for you moving forward. At least a wide receiver 3 for the next few years. He might taper off slowly, but by the time he's 31, 32, you might not be too happy having him on your team in Dynasty. I will say that. If there is a way to get out from Tyler Lockett, I would.
I would wait to see what happens with Russ.
Yes.
I mean, because right now I think, if you're trying to trade Tyler Lockett, it's kind of a similar. It's a lesser Devontae Adams situation because there's uncertainty about Lockett's quarterback, and if there's anything that has been that is kind of known to the masses, it's the chemistry between Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett and how excellent it is. If Lockett doesn't have that, obviously his value goes way down, and right now there is a question about whether he has it. I think you hold and hope that Russell Wilson goes back to.
No, I think you sell now because the uncertainty could go both ways. And yes, if Russell Wilson does go back, you're still selling a 30-year-old wide receiver 2. So what are you really going to get anyway? You're never going to get peak value for a guy like Tyler Lockett and what he can bring for you fantasy-wise.
After like week 3 or 4 last year was the time to get peak value for him.
Right, but this might be the last time he has fantasy value.
Like any value whatsoever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Trade Tyler Lockett in Dynasty.
You should be trading Tyler Lockett in Dynasty.
Yeah, all right.
Off the hope, sell him that, Russell Wilson, there's been no word from his camp. He's going to re-sign there, right? Mm-hmm. We're hearing all this stuff about Aaron Rodgers. Russell Wilson ain't saying anything. So maybe try to flip it like that and be like, he's going to be back. You have a wide receiver 2 for the next couple of years because he did sign a contract not too long ago for, I think, a 4-year extension.
It was a 4-year deal. Yep.
Yes. So, I would try to get out from under him. Yeah, right now.
It was just yesterday he was 25 years old. Like literally just yesterday. But anyway, why don't we, since we're a little bit more caught up and we did want to kind of talk a little bit, we're obviously happy to talk about whatever.
You got Godwin and Jefferson for 4 firsts. So you got Chase, Allen, Jefferson, Debo, Godwin, and Allen Robinson, which no one wants to buy. I mean,
might as well just
you might as well hold Allen Robinson, but wow. Now go and listen to our live stream from a few weeks ago where we talked about selling Debo Samuel right now.
Don't go looking for that. I couldn't even give you a timestamp for that. And no, don't. I mean, well, do what you want. But yeah, I mean, hell, you sort of made a contrarian argument to try to trade Chase for a mother load right now. I don't know that I want to.
No, that was very specific, and that was just us really having fun with the.
We were just.
That was not really a legitimate. That was just me trying to
keep Chase.
Stretch the limits of reality there. But no.
Well, what about Allen? Would you trade? I mean, Keenan Allen is 30, and to your, what if the Chargers sign?
You're not. I mean, that's the thing.
I know.
Everybody knows they're going to sign another wide receiver
or first rounders. Damn.
Everybody knows they're going to try to bring in some more weapons around him, and it's going to be probably not. We're probably done seeing prime Keenan Allen. He's still going to be good. And he's still going to be consistent, but we're probably done seeing prime Keenan Allen. So he's, again, with some of these aging vets, you're just not going to get market value for him. So I'd rather just hold and sell a guy that I can get peak value from. And I don't got to go into it again, but Debo Samuel was wide receiver 2 this past season?
He was, I think he might have been, yeah.
That's so if you're selling now, you're selling high. Technically, you're selling at peak value. I know he's 26, but
so there you go.
Go to our other pod for the whole. It was Dynasty Buys a couple weeks ago, but whatever. Let's move on.
We can do that. Well, we can talk about we can talk about Russell Wilson. We want talking about just like the quarterback landscape, but where we potentially think he, what
are the chances you think he stays in Seattle?
So to your, we haven't really heard a peep out of his camp.
Yep.
What's his contract situation?
I can look that up.
I mean, he would have to be traded, I think.
Yes. I believe so.
I don't think Seattle's going to trade him unless they get him. I don't think they're going to trade him. He's got a dead cap hit of $26 million.
Huh?
He's got a dead cap hit of $26 million.
You don't think he's going to try to force his way out?
He doesn't strike me as that type of person. That just or player. Like I don't know that that's in Russell Wilson's like genes, so to speak, to do something like that, or like mind and heart or whatever you want to call it. I don't think Seattle trades him. I don't. I'm not sure he holds out either. I feel like Russ might end up playing one more year in Seattle. Because again, with that dead cap hit, with a proven quarterback, a Super Bowl winning quarterback, has had seasons where he has put up monster numbers, multiple seasons, led Seattle to the playoffs multiple times. I think last year was last year was like maybe one of 2 seasons where he's got a losing record. When you have a quarterback, and I know Russ is 33, so he's older, but he's not dead. He's not 40. I have a hard time believing Seattle finds something that they like.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, if they just hold on to Russell Wilson, they give Rashad Penny a 1-year deal right? Because that's kind of really all he's earned.
Sure, prove it
up to
deal.
this point is a 1-year deal. Prove it. Let's see if you got it. And if you do, then we'll treat you like Derrick Henry moving forward. Yeah, I could see them trying to run it back one more year.
DK's locked in, Lockett's locked in. I know the offensive line stinks,
and
but
giving it a shot. And then
if it doesn't happen next year, then sure. It's like, yeah, now I'm 1 year older. We once again didn't do it.
Yeah.
Now trade me. The dead cap hit's cut in half.
So this could be Aaron Rodgers from last year coming into
but with way less drama and fanfare.
Because that's how he does things.
Yeah. He's Brett Favre 2.0. CXK, what's going on, man? He's got a trade question for us.
Najee or AG and a 2023 first. So I'm guessing, Antonio Gibson. 12-team Superflex. Do you know when the 2020 or when the 2023 first is this year?
Yeah, is the guy's team good, or like are you looking at that roster and thinking like that team is good? Does he have the
101 this year, or does he have the 112?
I'm inclined to say though the Gibson side. Well, maybe it's more so because of the first round pick. I have a little bit of concern about Gibson.
I would probably pull the trigger on that.
I think I would too. I got a little bit of concern about Gibson just because from what I've seen on Twitter, the Commanders, I hate that. They should have just stayed the Washington football team. I'm just going to call them Washington.
Yes.
The Commanders, stupid. By all accounts, Washington wants to retain J.D. McKissic. If they do, obviously that's a huge buzzkill for Antonio Gibson's fantasy prospects. If they let him walk, then to the moon for AG. But it sounds like they want to retain J.D. McKissic, and yes, he said he's got the 103 this year. I mean, if you're looking at
I would do that.
If you're looking at his team and thinking that's, maybe it's a playoff team, but at worst it's the 107, it's the 108 or something like that. I would, especially because it's super flex and you might be able to get a good quarterback in 2023, and maybe
whether
you need one or not, and you get Gibson and a quarterback for Najee.
Gibson, yes. I don't. To me, his value doesn't hinge on J.D. McKissic coming back. And yes, I know the team has come out and said they want to try to bring J.D. McKissic back. But I think it hinges on them getting a competent quarterback that can get that team in the red zone more often. And that's all it takes. That's all it takes. Because that team was bad last year. Straight bad. Yeah,
the offense stunk.
And he was still a low-end RB1 when he was healthy. For the most part, at least his numbers averaged out to that at the end of the year.
Yeah, he had some dud weeks, but sure, if you want to credit that to his situation stunk. So of course, naturally, when your situation stinks, you're gonna have clunkers.
The defense could bounce back. We always like that for running backs too. And I think that is a great trade for you because you're not getting any older. I believe you're getting younger. I believe Antonio Gibson is younger than Najee.
Oh, is he? I don't know about that.
They're at least the same age.
Gibson is 23. He'll be 24 in June.
And Najee is 23. So they're the same age.
Same age.
Yeah.
Najee's going to be 24 in March. So you're right. Gibson is, for what it's worth, a few months younger than Najee Harris.
Pull the trigger on that, CXK. Absolutely.
I'm okay with that.
And Kenneth, I love the hoard all wide receiver ones strategy you got going on. It is one of my favorites to
just get all
that's the position I go after first when I'm rebuilding. And that's the position you want to have young good studs at because your team will age gracefully.
Yep. And you could sign or you could trade Allen. If don't do it for the sake of doing it, obviously, but if there was one guy from that group where if you were looking at trying to get a running back, or maybe you were just looking to diversify your assets in some shape or way, Allen would be the guy who I would kind of highlight from that group as the most movable piece. Not that everybody's got a price. Not that anybody can't be moved, but Allen is the one where, I know he's really good and he's attached to Justin Herbert. If you are dead set
on selling him, you got to sell him now before the draft and free agency. Because as soon as they go out and get somebody and then draft somebody, because I bet you that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna get out. They have $57 million in cap space. They're gonna sign a wide receiver in free agency, whether that's hoping on a bounce back from Allen Robinson or getting Chris Godwin in there, something like that, bringing back Mike Williams. But then they're going to draft somebody, and they're going to probably draft somebody high because they're going to have to start thinking about the future after Allen Robinson and probably after Mike Williams, because if they do bring him back, I don't know how long of a deal that's going to be, Mike Williams. So, yeah, Keenan Allen, if you are dead set on selling him, sell him now. But I don't think he's a must-sell because he will age gracefully, and he will continue to be a productive wide receiver for your fantasy team because he's going to be starting with Justin Herbert for the foreseeable future still. So, yeah.
So there you go.
And Rojo Fish, what's going on? All I want to know is where is Trubisky and Mariota going? Hey, man, those are two of the most interesting quarterbacks to figure out what their landing spots are going to be this year. Or this
Pittsburgh
season.
is the the number one destination that is going to be associated to all of these guys. I think Mariota could do pretty well in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, Trubisky Trubisky might be fine. I mean, they're both very similar. I think I would like to see Mariota.
I'd like to see both of them in good landing spots. I think I'm more intrigued by Trubisky.
Okay.
I feel like I've seen more of Mariota, and look what we saw from Justin Fields under the same coaching staff that was coaching Mitch Trubisky when Mitch Trubisky was at one point a decent fantasy option at quarterback. Mitchell Trubisky, he had a high ceiling coming out, didn't realize it with Matt Nagy in Chicago. Not many quarterbacks would have. I'm intrigued to see.
Nagy was exposed.
I'm intrigued to see how Trubisky ends up, or where Trubisky ends up, because he's got some value, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of landing spots open and available this year. You've got Pittsburgh, you've got Tampa, you've got New Orleans. You probably have a place like Indianapolis. There's lots of spots that could use a quarterback. Washington, we just got done talking about them. Washington needs a quarterback. Carolina needs a quarterback. There are numerous teams, especially in the NFC, that should be looking to roll the dice on even a mid-level starter just because of the lack of competition. The NFC should see some quarterback changes this year, with Pittsburgh being the glaring spot in the AFC. But yeah, all of these guys should have, and all of those landing spots would be perfectly fine. Tampa's got, Mike Evans and Bruce Arians. Carolina's got DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey. New Orleans has Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. The list goes on. Pittsburgh's got Deontay and Claypool, and there are good options for these quarterbacks that are available to end up in. Maybe New Orleans is kind of the diciest, but if you've got a healthy Michael Thomas and we'll see what happens with Alvin Kamara's off-field stuff, but there's good weapons on that offense.
There are. Troutman, we're still believers in Troutman.
Still believers in Troutman. That might take another year or two.
Probably gonna get another playmaker in there, even if they keep Michael Thomas. So
Denver, I forgot about Denver. Denver's got great. There are some good open situations. We just need the dominoes to fall a little bit. So Mariota and Trubisky could both go to either one of those situations or any of those situations, and they should be fine.
Kyle's got the next question. Would you send Mac Jones in a 12-team Superflex for Ayuk in the 107?
What's your other quarterback?
Mac Jones, I like him. He's going to be steady for a long time. There are no concerns about him being out of the league anytime soon. No. But he doesn't have the upside of some of these other quarterbacks that we've seen come through recently. When I look at him, I look ceiling Ryan Tannehill as a kind of boring pocket passer Ryan Tannehill in the best situation that he's ever been in was QB7, QB6, or QB8, QB7 for 2 years back to back, and early on in Tennessee. You kind of fell off.
I think I would.
I
think I would do that deal.
You think you would do a trade for Ayuk in the 107?
I think I would.
I mean,
unless I'm bare bones. Yeah.
I think I would too, because Mac Jones' ceiling just isn't there for me. I would rather, with 107, take a stab at the quarterback I can get there, have Ayuk.
Yeah, I think Mac Jones.
Hopefully find my way, and you have Fields and Davis Mills. So you have all young quarterbacks. I don't know if Davis Mills is going to have a job next year. We'll see about that too.
I think he will. I think he's Houston's quarterback in 2022.
I think that would be the smart move, but based on based off of some of the news out of Houston right now with Lovie Smith, looks a little dicey. It does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would do that trade. I like Ayuk a lot, like the offense that he's going to be in a lot.
I'm not worried about the switch to Trey Lance.
I'd get a quarterback with the 107 and count that as a net win.
Or even if you don't, even if you rock with Fields and we'll see what happens with Mills. Mills has a some kind of similar to Jalen Hurts. It's an unknown future in the NFL, but it's a future. Fields, Lance, and Mills. Yes. And so you can stack Lance and Ayuk? Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Do that trade.
Yeah.
Do that trade. Yes, sir.
Then it's not a necessity that you use 107 on a quarterback.
Right. And
if you didn't have Lance, I would have said you probably would want to, because you want somebody long-term. Davis Mills isn't that. You can get by with him for this next year. I don't know if he's a long-term guy, but with you having both of those guys in Fields and Lance, yeah. Do that trade.
Oh, yeah.
Do that trade.
Yeah. I'm doing that deal 8 days a week.
And Rojo Fish, I agree. And you got the 109, 111, 112, and 201. Hey, I like that. Hoping to walk away with whatever QB falls, either Willis or Pickett. And Kyron Williams, George Pickens, David Bell. And guess the question is who? Yeah, I would say I'm inclined to say Bell there. Pickens, I know Pickens is kind of. I saw a good little stat on Twitter. I can't remember. I
wish
Pickens.
I could.
So I would go Pickens over David Bell, but it's close.
Pickens' yards per route run went down each year in college. I don't like that trend. I'm not a fan of that trend. David Bell saw his yards per route run. His highest yards per route run was this past season.
Fair.
Like, he improved his yards per route run from his freshman and I think he's a junior, his freshman and sophomore years.
I believe both are early declares, which is something that's
yeah.
Pickens,
I think, is
it's a better predictor for wide receiver production than breakout age.
I kind of like Bell.
I like them both. I got to do more research on both.
Yeah,
I like them both. Right now, it's very close. I like Pickens a little bit more as it stands right now, but I really got to dig into these guys more.
Yeah,
and obviously, landing spot and what happens at the combine will have a say in where they land up for me.
Yep. And we'll do some. We did put a little bit of some rookie profiles on hold until we get to see the combine, just because there are so many things that we don't know yet. But yeah,
we do have a couple out. Nick was rolling
bit.
Them out for a while, so check those out. Check out the ones that we got up.
We'll still be pumping them out. We'll definitely still be pumping them out. But the combine is going to go a long way, and at least helping out with some measurables and all that good stuff. But that's a good plan. That's a great collection of draft capital to have. You'll be set up all right, Rojo.
Yeah, I'm trying to trade my way into something like that too.
You'll be all right.
Trying to trade with this one, actually. He's stonewalling me though, y'all.
Wants my 107. I don't know if I feel like giving it to him. You got 2 first-round picks already. You got the 4 and the 9. You can relax over there.
No. I'm trying to be like Rojo Fish, man. That's my hero right now. I'm trying to be like Rojo Fish.
Well, he doesn't have the 4th pick. You do. So you're good. You're going to get a good talent there. Treylon Burks.
All right, we got to pick a side.
What's the side?
Mac Jones, Pat Freiermuth, and Nico Collins, or Trey Lance.
Ooh. First of all, CSK, appreciate the kind words.
Yes, sir.
Love just hanging out and chilling with y'all, just having a conversation. So happy that everybody feels the same way. Yeah. But Trey Lance, obviously, of this group in Superflex, has the highest upside.
Yeah, he's got top 5 quarterback upside.
It looks like it's so you got PPR. I'm going to assume it's not like a tight end premium type of scoring that gives a guy like Freiermuth a bit of a boost. I'm inclined to say, I know it's a lot on side A, but I'm inclined to just say Trey Lance. He's going to be the guy next year. Well, presumably. Everybody's throwing out Aaron Rodgers, landing spots and throwing San Francisco into the mix. I don't see it. I think Trey Lance is much more suited to run the type of offense that Kyle Shanahan wants to run. And Kyle Shanahan, say what you want about him, damn good offensive coach that schemes up the run game better than literally anybody. And now he's going to have the best running quarterback he has ever had as a coach in the NFL, like dating back to, he was an offensive coordinator with Atlanta. Matt Ryan didn't run. He was an offensive coordinator with Washington. Who was the quarterback then?
No, when I look at this, it's like you got one
Shanahan.
Quarterback 2 probably, and you got one future quarterback 1, and you're giving up on one end. I mean, yes, Pat Freiermuth has value. Young tight end has value.
Yeah.
Nico Collins, he's still kind of a dart throw right now.
Yeah, but I like Nico.
Speculated earlier in this in the live stream, maybe on the last iteration of the live stream before the fire on my block, that Brandon Cooks might be somebody that the Texans trade, which would obviously bump Nico Collins' value up a little bit more.
Yes.
But ultimately, you're not giving up a lot, considering it is super flex to move from a QB2 to a QB1, because Nico Collins right now, he was a wide receiver 4 for you pretty much, and all he promises you right now is youth at one of the most replaceable positions in fantasy.
Yeah, he's got some upside, but it's
Pat Freiermuth has more upside, and I'm more bullish about him in the long term. I think he can be a good tight end moving forward. But you could find other tight ends, and chances are you probably have other tight ends.
I would say
in this draft, guy I like is Trey McBride, who looks a lot like a Pat Freiermuth to me.
You're very bullish.
So you can go out and replenish your tight end rankings there, or tight end ranks. And yeah, Trey Lance. I like that Trey Lance side.
Yeah,
go get upside at the most important position in Superflex.
Right, because it's Superflex. I think I would want Lance. Freiermuth is kind of like a linchpin in this trade, where it's like that's what I think sells the trade, which would be tough to give up on.
Pat Freiermuth even in your starting lineup? You could have a team that's stacked at. You could have somebody ahead of Pat Freiermuth, and Pat Freiermuth would be on your bench, and Nico Collins would be on your bench. So you're giving up one starter and 2 bench players who have some upside for a much better starter, if that's the case. So yeah,
for a layup starter moving forward.
Trey Lance, young layup starter.
I want Trey Lance. I want Trey Lance. It would make it even better if like the Mac Jones side was like throwing in a 3rd round pick or something. But at this point, I'm not going to get greedy. I would take Trey Lance.
Yeah, and Rojo Feshez, Jalen Weidermeyer too. Yeah, he looks like the higher upside athletic specimen, the type of guy that I would normally go after. That can probably be had later in drafts. I like Jalen Weidermeyer a lot. And if I have a 3rd round pick, that's a guy I'm looking at.
Yeah, strong pass catcher.
Yep.
I mean, he's like 6'5", 250. Very intriguing long-term prospect.
Yeah, could have the upside of a guy like Jared Cook. Could be getting a young Jared Cook, somebody like that. So I think he's also been comped to Mo Alley Cox.
That would make sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. I like Mo Alley Cox. I do. Always been, he's just a freak athlete. Just need to get Jack Doyle out of Indy.
That's always been the case. He's been there for a few seasons too long. And click accept on that CXK.
There you go.
Yes, sir. That's a win.
Love it. Hopefully that works. I think Trey Lance.
Hey, those are two good trades you made today. Najee for AG and the 2023 first. And you got Trey Lance. That
bottle. Celebrate a little bit. Pour a drink.
Yes.
Celebrate a little bit.
Yes.
Have a little twisted Tuesday. This 2/22/22 Tuesday.
There you go.
Happens every 1 billion years.
2 trades. Yep.
Hey, 2 trades on 2/22/22. Boom.
I like it. I like it.
Have 2 drinks. Boom. Love it. Big fan. So we're caught up on the chat for now.
Were there any other quarterbacks you wanted to go over?
Yeah, any other quarterback related questions? We wanted to kind of in honor of Aaron Rodgers' cryptic Instagram post. We did want to have.
You haven't talked at all about the speculation that Kirk Cousins might be moving on, or they might be into trading Kirk Cousins, and it has to do with his contract. Would be $40 million guaranteed, being such an albatross for a quarterback that really just hasn't gotten it done from an NFL perspective.
Well, here's the thing about
Cousins. I think he's staying, but I don't know what team would be giving up a ton to get Kirk Cousins.
So, I mean, it's a big cap hit.
He deserves to have a job in the NFL. I don't think he's the type of quarterback that teams are really giving up assets to try to trade for.
Well, maybe they should. If they're fringe contenders, maybe they should. Kirk Cousins is decent. I think
Vikings
better
have
than
had an above average team year in, year out, with Kirk Cousins at the helm, and they've gone nowhere.
Oh, they had an ancient head coach. He held it back. Zimmer held that team back.
Yes, he did.
With his old school approach. Like, how many times did they run the ball the game? Too many. Cousins is an analytics darling. The nerd community has pointed out, like, Kirk Cousins has been a pretty good quarterback, all things considered, relative to expectations. The results just haven't been there in the form of winning games or getting to the playoffs. And although, guess what? They did go to the playoffs and with him once. They won a game on the road. They beat a Saints team that I think everybody expected to beat the Vikings. So Cousins does have like that under his belt. It's like he does have a very quality win, a very quality playoff win on the road against a good opponent.
That was all Stephon Diggs.
Sure. Diggs did have a good game that game, I think. Or it might have just been Cousins. I think the Vikings put up a lot of points in that game, if I'm remembering correctly. Anyway, I have a hard time believing all of that said that another team does absorb that. What is it? $40 million
game
guaranteed. $45 million dead cap hit.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
Actually, the Vikings would have to absorb that.
I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, he's going to be a Viking, and I'm okay with that. If I have Kirk Cousins in Superflex, I'm okay with that because he's going to be throwing to Justin Jefferson. He's still going to be throwing to Adam Thielen. Maybe this offense opens up a little bit more with an with a modern day head coach. Maybe they throw to Dalvin Cook instead of running it with him 25 times a game.
The return of Irv Smith.
Right, you got Irv, you got Conklin. Like, there's some good.
Conklin's a free agent.
Conklin's a free agent, so that maybe he doesn't come back. But they traded for Chris Herndon.
Yep.
I refuse to give up on that guy.
Forgot about that.
I refuse to give up on Chris Herndon. I think I saw him catch one touchdown this year, and I was very happy for him. I refuse to give up on Chris Herndon. There's a decent collection of talent on that Vikings offense. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine for this year. I just don't think he's going to be moving anywhere.
No, I don't think so.
No. And Rojo Fish, best trade you pulled off this season was Aaron Jones in the 2022 late second for Javonte. Get the hell out of here.
Dang.
Yeah, that's a win.
That's a win.
For sure. Damn.
I mean,
and Winston is probably going to stay in NOLA. I'm with that.
Yeah, I could believe that. Kyle, I'm curious to see where you saw the odds about Russ going to Philly. I mean, I wonder if that's just a product of the offseason and people like the rumor mill. People just love to. This is the kind of year, and I'm not talking about us or anybody in this chat or anybody, but like people who like want to break into working like as a reporter or whatever. I see a lot of people on Twitter throwing stuff at the wall and hoping something sticks.
Yeah, there was that Hollywood Brown gonna quit. Yeah, people, be a Twitch star. There was, you hear it all the time.
And some things come true.
And even on Sleeper, I give Sleeper a lot of credit as a platform, but as a news breaking service, they'll have some reports where it's just like some dude speculated, blah, and it means absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that being said, look, Philly wanted to draft Russell Wilson at the time of the draft. We're now talking 10 years ago. So totally different landscape, but
front office Eagles is pretty much the same though, isn't it?
I mean, well, this was still when Andy Reid was the head coach.
Okay.
So it was 2012. It was literally 10 years ago. The Eagles, it's now very well known. The Eagles wanted to draft Russell Wilson, and they called him and told him as much. But the Seahawks, I don't know if they caught wind of it or if they just wanted Russ themselves. They leapfrogged over the Eagles in the draft, traded up ahead of the Eagles, drafted Russell Wilson. Rest is history. So the Eagles are definitely they're going to be interested in Russell Wilson if he's even remotely available. I'm just not sure that the Eagles currently have a team that is so significantly better than the Seahawks that it makes sense for that to actually happen.
No.
So I'm not sure. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, it sounds good on paper, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Philadelphia would be wise to use their first-round draft picks to build their team and not use them to trade
we'll see.
A quarterback. So
you're right. Thoughts. I mean, Vegas. Look, that is absolutely true. Vegas has a bunch of mind readers working for them, and a lot of times they get things right. They're Vegas for a reason. They know things that we don't. So you can't discount it if Vegas likes it. I'm just not sure it makes sense for the Eagles. If the rumors are true, let's just say they're true, and the Eagles are kicking the tires on trying to make trade for Russell Wilson. Does Russ want to do that? Do the Eagles feel like they're in a position to win if they just get Russell Wilson? Like, that defense needs a lot of work. Like, I don't know. The big difference is the Eagles. I will say the biggest difference between the Eagles and the Seahawks as far as where the Eagles are better, and this is key for this conversation, is the offensive line. The Eagles' offensive line is significantly better than the Seahawks' offensive line. That's going to be appealing to Russ. But is the whole situation going to be appealing? I don't know.
There's got to be two sides meeting to want to make that happen. Russ might want a better O-line,
which he would have in Philly over Seattle. No question.
He can leak to the press or whatever, however he wants to do it, that he wants to come to Philly.
Mm-hmm.
But unless Philly is willing to mortgage the assets to be able to make that happen, it's a moot point. It doesn't matter. So, yeah. And like we said, the smart thing to do would be to build a team first, and then probably next year draft a quarterback. But
try to draft a quarterback, and then that way you have a you reset the cycle of okay, now I got a young quarterback on a team-friendly deal. I can splurge in free agency and try to go for it.
And if they're going to be running to get a quarterback, I think they would go with the Deshaun Watson route.
Yeah, there's a lot on. I mean, there's uncertainty there too. Just a different.
And Rojo Fish, thank you so much. Appreciate it. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern. During the season, we do it Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and Sunday. Right? 4 times.
During the season, we live stream 4 times during the season. But during the off season, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6 p.m. Eastern. I actually won't be available this coming Thursday. But
we'll still have a show for you. I'll still be here.
I'll do a little something.
Yeah.
But yeah, every Tuesday, every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, and then we try to put out some weekly content as well, just like a couple videos here and there, as things come up.
In season, and after the draft.
Every day.
It's every day.
Yeah,
but there is a little bit of a lull right now. There is not a ton going on, so we have scaled back our video output a little bit. But during the season, every day, sometimes multiple times a day, we're putting out videos, and we do at least all the 3 live streams a week.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
With all the breaking news during the season, and that can just include a player is out for that week. It's just like, you can expect a good amount of content. But yeah, appreciate the support, man. Happy that this was
appreciate it,
that you're enjoying this. I see he's got a question about Gabe Davis right above.
We had a show.
We talked about this
ago.
guy. Yeah, we talked about him.
We were talking about sell highs in Dynasty. If you can sell Gabe Davis for what his market was right after that game, which was a first round pick, mid to late first round pick, I would do that. But I'm not rushing, and neither is Nick, to get Gabe Davis off of your teams because he still does have value. He's 22 years old, will be 23 when the season starts. You said in this comment, Beasley's most likely
Beasley's
is gone.
Sanders is probably also
Sanders is
on
gone.
A 1-year deal?
Sanders is gone.
He's gone.
There's chances he might retire, which I think would probably be the smart thing.
I like Manny Sanders, but I think that would make sense.
Beasley, while he's an effective player, and if they were to find a way to extend him and lessen his cap hit, that would still, I guess, be fine. They can save $8 million against the cap by cutting him right now,
which they should probably just do.
Yes, I agree. And I was daydreaming because I don't know if you've seen the Jarvis Landry tweets.
Yeah, he's.
But I was daydreaming about the Bills replacing Cole Beasley with Jarvis Landry somehow. That would be the dream come true.
He would more than make up for Beasley and probably
same type of player as Beasley, combined. Better production, and a mentor type.
Than
even
the first.
201, and even then, I'd be like, I want to wait until the draft.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to be trading Gabe Davis for the 201, I need to know who's there. And if I like the person that's there, I will pull the trigger during the draft if it's the 201. But if you can get any sort of first, do it for Gabe Davis.
First round pick, it makes sense as difficult as it might sound, like after that performance.
Ultimate sell high.
Yeah, it's an ultimate sell high for a guy who's he's a wide receiver 3 with wide receiver 2 upside with plenty of room to grow because of how young he is. But a first round pick is a first round pick.
Yeah.
Anything less, I'm not even sure the 201 would be enough for me. And I know that maybe sounds silly because it's just, it's
that's
just
why
one
I
pick
would have
after
to
being a first round pick.
See who's there.
Yeah, I gotta know who's there for. It's like, okay, this is a guy I want. That's not the pick that I'm trading for. There's a specific player. I gotcha.
Because one of the things that I was thinking about a lot this week was last year. I liked a lot of different players coming into the draft, rookies coming into the draft. And then the draft happened, and I saw where they ended up, and I wasn't as hyped on probably about 1/3 of the prospects coming in because you're all speculation until they go to a landing spot that doesn't look to be productive.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're kind of like, meh, I'd like that guy a little bit more when I thought he was maybe going to go here, or here, but he went here. That's going to happen in this draft. That happens in every draft. And a guy that we really like now could fall because the fantasy landscape doesn't like the landing spot for him. Like an Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And they choose to go Rondale Moore over Amon-Ra because they love Rondale Moore's landing spot in Arizona. So yeah, I would wait. Bottom line, I would wait on trading Gabe Davis until the draft to see if there's anybody that's going to fall based on the NFL draft and where they ended up. But yeah, right now, in a vacuum, 201's not enough to get it done for Gabe.
Yep, agreed.
Sorry if that was a little long-winded, but there you go. And yo, Kyle, you are a Texans fan. Wish we got Watson out of here. The minute he wanted out, yeah, that probably would have been smart.
Yeah, I mean, would have made sense. It also, unfortunately, I think things happened very quickly where it was like teams it became a situation where teams just were not sure what they were maybe trading for outside of the top 5 talent on the field.
Yeah, and probably NFL teams knew about those allegations and things before we did.
Yeah, when we know about things, the NFL has known about it for several
probably
days.
2 weeks.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
Right. It's like they try to keep things hush-hush for as long as they can until things ultimately get out, because that's just ultimately what eventually happens. I'm very curious to see what happens with Watson this year, because he has most likely played his last snap for the Texans already.
Yeah, I can't see that being a bridge that is mended.
Yeah.
At all.
Probably not. The only thing, by all accounts, the only chance of that happening would have been if they had maybe hired Brian Flores as their coach, because by all accounts, that is what was why Deshaun Watson was interested in Miami last year. So, I mean, you want to talk? I mean, shoot, does that make Watson a contender to potentially go to Pittsburgh now that Brian Flores is on the Steelers staff? I don't see Pittsburgh moving that or making that move.
Stranger things have happened, I guess. Maybe not. Maybe stranger things haven't happened, but it's all speculation.
Mm-hmm.
How are you approaching Watson in Dynasty right now? Because I know that he is somebody that you have on one team, and I know that he is somebody
I do have
that
him on one team.
Yeah, are you buying him right now if you don't have him? Are you selling him if you do? Knowing that when he is on the field playing, he's a top 5 fantasy quarterback, but we have zero idea when or if he's going to be on the field anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm not sure you can go either way with him right now at his peak value. And if if this situation ultimately eventually gets resolved, there will be another window of opportunity where Watson gets back to his peak value, just because he's going to be playing again. That's all that's going to take with a guy like Deshaun Watson. When he's playing, he's top 5. I am holding out that maybe there's another year where he can't play. I'm holding. I'm not sure that I'm looking to. If I don't have him, I'm not sure that I'm trying to get him. If I do have, it's weird. It's kind of a double-edged sword. If I don't have him, I'm not sure I'm interested in buying him. If I do have him, I'm not sure I'm interested in selling him, because, again, you're not going to get as good of an offer because of the uncertainty. What would you offer for Deshaun Watson right now? Like a 2nd-round pick? I don't. Is that too ambitious?
Maybe.
Yeah,
if
maybe. But I don't want to do that in a super flex league. I'll just hold and hope for the best.
If I had a second in Davis Mills, maybe I'd throw that at him or something.
Yeah, and then that's if the person who has Watson wants to do that. And speaking as someone who does have Deshaun Watson, I like Davis Mills, but that's not enough.
Look,
but I understand
Michael Vick,
you're not going to get more than that.
Different time, completely different legal situation. But Michael Vick went to jail for 2 years, and then came right back into the NFL and was a pretty good. He didn't pick up right where he left off, but he was a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah,
and
it was
he came back because he was talented enough to be one of the top 32 quarterbacks in the NFL, and it didn't matter that he had a rap sheet and just came out of jail. Didn't matter, because he could win an NFL team games.
He could play quarterback. Now
right.
his fantasy relevance only spanned over the course of maybe a season's worth of games after that. So
yeah, there was 2 years after that where but we're talking about different types of players too. And Deshaun Watson, Michael Vick, very electric. Deshaun Watson in a different level. Again, we're talking about a top 5 fantasy quarterback and maybe a top 5 regular quarterback. The landscape has changed since we've seen him. We've got to see how he fits into this current crop of quarterbacks, considering all the young guys that have shown a lot of promise. But he would at least be in the conversation. So, when he comes back, whether that's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, there's going to be a team that's going to give him a shot. There's going to be a team that's going to give him a shot, and as soon as he steps back on the field, he is at least a mid to high end low to high end QB1. He's in that QB1 range regardless when he steps back on the field. If it was me, I would hold, even though it sucks having to hold. In the long term, holding him will be way more value to your fantasy prospects of winning in the future than selling him for pretty much whatever you could get right now.
As far as what Houston is asking for, I'm Kyle. You might be a little closer to that than we are being a Texans fan. 3 to 4 firsts. There's just no way right now. How could you possibly invest that draft capital into a guy where we don't know when his next game's going to be? Could be this year. Could be 2023.
Whenever he comes back, he's still a buy. He'll be an under 30.
When he comes back, that buy window has slammed shut.
Well, yeah.
So for now he's a buy. If you believe he's going to settle everything out of court, like all of these cases are going to settle. If you believe that, and I have, you're not going to hear any argument from me about that. The chances of that happening, I would say it's pretty good. Now's the buy low window. It's just going to be a matter of, does the Watson owner want to sell low?
And you might be able to find a Watson owner that does.
Somebody
might. Smart one won't. A smart one will stay pat and wait until they can play their QB1 again.
I think if you have Watson, you have to stand pat. If you don't have Watson, you can try to get him. You can't sell. You can't. You can. You don't have to offer your best shot, your best package, your best value, but that might be what you ultimately need to offer to get it done, and then it's just a question of, do you want to?
Yep. Yeah. And Rojo Fish, thank you very much for the super chat.
That, man. He wants to know who you're eyeballing at your 109.
I assume, and this isn't Superflex, right? I assume Breece Hall would have gone. I assume Isaiah Spiller would have gone. I assume Treylon Burks would have gone. I assume Garrett Wilson would have gone. I assume Kenneth Walker would have gone. I would assume probably Spiller. 2 quarterbacks will have gone.
Yeah, Willis. Some combination of Willis, Corral, and Pickett. Some combination.
2 quarterbacks, if not 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably a Drake London or a Jameson Williams has gone. So at that point, you're looking at Kyron Williams, who has fallen in value a little bit if you're going running back. Still a good running back prospect, but I think the knock on him at this point is, yes, he has the numbers in college, but he got those numbers largely through running through people. And in the NFL, his projection is that he's not going to be a running back that runs through people because he doesn't have that
Not
size.
At 5'9".
I compared him to, if you look at him, he's more like an Austin Eckler type. If he continues to play like he and that's if he reaches his ceiling and the team uses
that's like
correctly.
Maximum ceiling. I would say he's like, the comparison I saw on Twitter that I was like, okay, that makes sense, is like Giovanni Bernard.
There you go. That makes
5'9",
sense.
A little under 200 pounds.
But somewhere on that spectrum between Gio Bernard and Austin Eckler. But not somebody who's going to be running up the gut a bunch. They're going to be used in a versatile manner. So, Kyren Williams, maybe.
Which a pass-catching running back is always going to be intriguing.
I like pass-catching running backs. I do.
Oh, yeah.
But at 109, I feel like I really need to hit on something, and I think Kyren Williams might fall, and there are some other running back prospects, even if he doesn't fall, that I like probably just as much that can be had later. Like a Tyler Algier. I like him a lot. But I probably wouldn't be going Kyren Williams there. I mean, if Jameson Williams falls to you, maybe go Jameson Williams there. He's very intriguing.
I like him.
If he is gone, I mean, maybe Drake London falls to 9. But if not one of those two, then you're looking at George Pickens, Dave Bell, Chris Olave. I like Chris Olave, depending on where he goes. I think
Olave.
I think 109 is a little bit too high for Olave. 109 is a tough spot. You kind of gotta pick. You kind of gotta wait to see how the board unfolds, and you're probably gonna get the last really high-end talent in Superflex at the 109, and that's hopefully you're hoping that some of those quarterbacks go in there, or if not, then you have the ability to draft a Malik Willis.
Yep.
But Malik Willis is the only quarterback that I'd really be looking at 109. I know some people are high on Kenny Pickett. I am not one of those people who is very high on Kenny Pickett. If I'm shooting for a quarterback in the first round, it's Malik Willis.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you are looking at George Pickens, David Bell, someone like that. And you're basically hoping that a Jameson Williams, Drake London type falls to you. And Olave might be the pick there, depending on where he ends up.
I think Olave might be in that conversation. But yeah, honestly, if I'm not in love with all those prospects and Jameson Williams is there, I might just swing for the fences.
Oh, I would be more than happy going after Jameson Williams at 109. I would be more than happy. I would absolutely love it if Jameson Williams fell to me at 109, regardless of landing spot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in a vacuum, that's who I'm hoping falls to me. We don't know what the situations are. If I could find a way to get Malik Willis at 109, which I think is unattainable in the Superflex League, that would be phenomenal. I don't think that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
No other quarterbacks I'm really willing to go to there. So yeah, I'd probably be looking at one of those wide receivers, Jameson Williams or George Pickens, Dave Bell, Chris Olave, maybe a Drake London if he falls. Even though Nick is not super high on Drake London, I think at 109, if he fell to 109, that's kind of where you got to pick him up.
I think London's stock is rising. I'm not sure he's there at 109. I think people are warming up.
I think he's gone at 109. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So there you go. Thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate
that.
And thank you again for subbing you.
Yeah, man. Kyle's got a question about quarterback bounce backs for 2022. I got 2 of them, actually.
Hit me.
And we've already talked about one of them at a decent amount of length today. It's Russell Wilson.
Yes.
It's Russell Wilson.
You stealing that from me, bro? Come on now.
Did I steal it from you? Well, go ahead. You say what you want to say.
No. I just talked a whole bunch about the question you for the 109. So you go on Russell Wilson, and then I'll just back you up, bro.
Okay. Fair enough. What's his early ADP on Underdog? I need to look this up. I know it's behind the likes of Trey Lance and Jalen Hurts, and I think Matthew Stafford as well. Russ is currently is the QB 12. Yep, Russ is currently the QB 12 off the board with an ADP of around 95. He was, correct me if I'm wrong, when he came back to end the season, he was a QB 1. I think he was putting up QB 1 numbers following his stint on injured reserve. There might have been a couple duds here and there, but there is the vibes I think are down on Russell Wilson because the Seahawks had a terrible year. Russ got hurt, and now there's speculation about his future and where he's going to end up. So people they're taking all of those negative talking points, and it's pushing his ADP down. It's driving his ADP down. Like, I like Jalen Hurts. Russell Wilson is a safer bet for fantasy production than Jalen Hurts. I like Matthew Stafford. Russell Wilson is perennially a better fantasy quarterback than Matthew Stafford. But right now, Stafford just won the Super Bowl and had a good playoff run. Right, so that's pushing his ADP up.
We advocated in Dynasty trying to sell Matt Stafford for Russell Wilson just this past week.
Yep. So if we are of the belief that Russ might end up sticking it out for one more year in Seattle, just looking at the parameters of his contract and how likely it is that Seattle might actually move him, which I think we're kind of in agreement now, feels less and less likely. Vegas has, they feel a certain way about it. But even if let's just play that game. Russ goes to Philly. Okay. He's still throwing to Devontae Smith. He's still throwing to Dallas Goedert, who's I think is an ascending tight end.
And they probably will, even if they give a bunch of firsts to go and do that. Draft a playmaker at some point in the draft.
Yeah, they'll draft another wide receiver. They have Quez Watkins, who flashed, and Russell Wilson is the type of quarterback who elevates those type of players to be better anyway. Not to mention the great offensive line. If Russ is healthy and running around like he normally does and can, I think Russ is primed for an excellent bounce back. I was completely out on Russell Wilson last year. With this drop in ADP, I'm all the way in. So that's my first guy. I don't know if you have anything else that you wanted to add to that.
No, I mean, I agree with 100% of that. I don't know if you said this. You might have. Last year was the only time he hasn't been a top 10 quarterback in like the past 8 years.
I did not, but I think that's correct. Dating back to like his third season. As soon as 3 or 4
years ago, he was QB3, I believe. So yeah, all he needs is to scramble a little bit more, get a better O-line, and he's back. That could happen through the draft in Seattle, and it could improve some, or that could happen if he goes elsewhere. Great offensive line
draft this year.
So yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so I got one before you go to your second.
Do it.
If we're talking about bounce backs, it's pretty hard to do worse than what Zach Wilson did last year.
Oh, it's not my guy. Okay.
But we love his weapons. Yeah. Michael Carter, pass catching gadget type running back.
I like Michael
Elijah
Carter.
Moore,
I was out.
Great wide receiver talent. We were all very high on Corey Davis before they signed Elijah Moore, and I know they're probably going to go out and draft another wide receiver. Drake London has been floated out there. Treylon Burks has been floated out there.
I think they might take Burks at 4.
But they're going to try to surround this young quarterback, which is what smart teams do. They're going to try to surround this young quarterback with weapons to see if he sinks or swims.
Another team that could use offensive line help. It's not a make or break it
year for Zach Wilson, but he's getting close to that. And it'll be hard for him to do worse than he did last year when he didn't have a tight end, right? They drafted Kenny Yeboah, and it didn't work out. They traded Chris Herndon. They had a bunch of young weapons in basically starting positions because Corey Davis went out. They couldn't rely on Denzel Mims. They had to rely on Keelan Cole. They were relying on Jamison Crowder was
Braxton Berrios.
Yeah, Jamison Crowder was up in the air for the majority of the season. Braxton Berrios stepped in and performed admirably. But also, Elijah Moore got sick, and didn't he get sick and get injured and was out for a while?
COVID wrecked
but he was killing it after about 6 weeks. He started killing it. But this team is going to, weapons-wise, look a lot better moving forward. And my screen just went blank. I don't know if we're still on. Are we still on?
I think I still see.
These are happening.
They are real. They are real today.
Yeah. What is going on?
I think we're still up. I think we're good here.
Yeah, my screen just says loading. I don't know what's going on.
From what I can tell, I think we are still good.
All right.
Yeah,
great.
We're still all right. It's just you over there. Somebody needs to put the fire out over on your block.
Am I back? All right. Well, I'm just rolling blind. I'm rolling blind. It is what it is.
We're still up. We're still up. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like Zach
Wilson.
I like Zach Wilson as a bounce back. I don't know if I'm going to be drafting him in redraft. I don't know. But in Dynasty, it's probably the lowest you're going to get Zach Wilson from somebody right now.
So his redraft ADP is currently 150. Way too early is 150. I mean, you're talking about as cheap can get for a guy who is going to be a starting quarterback.
Right. They're not gonna be benching him for Mike White unless they absolutely have to. You know what I mean? So he's gonna be starting. He will have much better weapons. The weapons that he will have had one more year under the belt.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. All right, I'm back. I can see you again. Nice.
You good?
So yeah, I like Zach Wilson as the other Wilson that will bounce back this year. Though I agree, Russell Wilson will to a much larger extent. But we like Wilsons. Second?
The Wilsons are going to bounce back this year. My other guy is Justin Fields.
Okay.
This is kind of easy for me. I actually, I might end up drafting Justin Fields, at least in redraft, a lot. His ADP right now, hang on, I just had it, is 99. So he's just barely a top 100 pick. In redraft, especially if you're only starting, like, say, one quarterback, which I think is super flex redraft, whatever. I think like one quarterback redraft is a typical format, at least if you play like best ball and all that good stuff. Justin Fields, I'm very intrigued in. Allen Robinson is probably going to walk. That would be potential downside, even though Allen Robinson didn't really do anything this year. It would be one less weapon. That being said, the Bears have Darnell Mooney, who's an ascending talent. They have Cole Kmet, who I think the general consensus is we are still believers in
ascending
Cole
talent
Kmet
as well. Yep.
Yeah, ascending talent. They overhauled the coaching staff. Still a pretty good run game. And, the most important X factor about a quarterback when it comes to fantasy production is Fields can run, and he does it well. And he did it pretty good last year, all things considered.
Yeah, he had a 100-yard
given the awful situation he was in. Yeah. Had like a 2-touchdown passing game in a tough matchup on the road against Pittsburgh. Justin Fields flashed last year and was held back by a god-awful situation that can go nowhere, kind of like Zach Wilson, should not go anywhere but up. I think Fields is primed relative to cost to bounce back nicely next year because you can't do much worse than Matt Nagy as your head coach. And now that that's not his situation anymore, he's primed to be in a much better environment, a much more positive environment. I believe Justin Fields has a very nice 2022. I promise you I will have more. As much as I do like Trey Lance, but so does everybody. Everybody likes Trey Lance. He's got top 75 ADP right now. I will have more shares of Justin Fields. That's just because you can get him.
NFL does for. Yeah.
You can get him 25 picks cheaper. At least right now, again, according to Underdog Fantasy, who will sponsor us one day, because with the number of times I mention them in each of our shows, Fields is 25 picks cheaper than a guy like Trey Lance. And I don't think Justin Fields is 25 picks worse from a production standpoint than Trey Lance. I think you can get somewhat similar production from both. Yes, Trey Lance has a better, deeper collection of weapons. But Fields is not chopped liver. I believe Fields.
His weapons will get better. Darnell Mooney is a legitimate weapon, and the other weapons on the team are pretty uninspiring. So with the guy that has his wheels, he's gonna have to do a lot of it himself, which means good things for your fantasy team. So yeah, I like Fields. I don't know if he has the ceiling of some other rushing quarterbacks yet. Just because we've yet to see it.
Sure.
But it could happen. Yeah. He could turn into Jalen Hurts moving forward and be a top 10 fantasy quarterback just based off of the fact that he is a very effective runner. So that could definitely happen. And he has a better arm than Jalen Hurts. So there are other things to factor in with that comparisons. Yes, I'm talking about from where he finished in fantasy. He could be a Jalen Hurts level quarterback. I'm not comparing them from their strengths and weaknesses.
No, he has more passing upside than Hurts does.
Yes, that goes without saying.
Yeah, he has more passing upside. So, yeah, the Wilsons and Justin Fields, Kyle, for our bounce backs.
And if you're really going low bottom of the barrel, Zach Wilson, and I mean, I will say Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence should, again, by your logic, bounce back. Yeah, I like his coaching staff a hell of a lot more this year than I did last year.
He's got big balls dug over the debacle that was last year.
Right, they have the second most cap space in the NFL behind the Dolphins. They have $59 million in cap space. What do smart teams do? They put a lot of money into the supporting cast for their quarterback. We saw last year that not doing that didn't work out for them. It did not work out to the point where Trevor Lawrence was barely a startable quarterback in most formats. That also has to do with the fact that they tried. Yeah.
With Marvin Jones, they tried. It was coaching.
They had, I believe, again, the most cap space last year.
Yeah.
And the wide receiver they decided to tie themselves to was Marvin Jones. I'm not going to give them a pat on the back for that. We both like Marvin Jones. But for a team that had the most cap space last season, they were counting on ETN. They were counting on DJ Chark, and they lost two weapons there.
Yeah.
But to have that much money and to spend it on Marvin Jones and think you're set was a mistake. It was. And I don't think that's a mistake they're going to make again. I think they're going to use their cap space this offseason to really put good players around Trevor Lawrence.
They're not going to sign
ETN's going to be back. ETN is more of a pass catcher, which means they're not just going to be running it all the time with James Robinson, who I like, but play style, their strengths necessitate a different kind of play style. If Trevor Lawrence is passing to ETN, that benefits Trevor Lawrence in fantasy. He's going to have much better weapons, much more stable quarterback situation, much more stable locker room situation.
You would have to think.
And bounce back for one of the highest thought of prospects in recent memory. I think Trevor Lawrence fits the mold there.
Got an ADP of 124, so you can have him.
Again, bottom of the barrel guys. Would I rather have Russell Wilson? Yes. Would I rather have Justin Fields? Yes, because of what he brings rushing means his fantasy ceiling is more easily attainable. But bounce back, we could see Trevor Lawrence find his way into high-end QB2, low-end QB1 value. He could realize his upside and be QB8, QB9. Because what were people expecting him when he came into the league? We were all expecting, okay, this guy can be a Justin Herbert type player. Doesn't do it with his legs, but his arm is crazy. Generational. That's what we were expecting from Trevor Lawrence. If Trevor Lawrence realizes his potential, he could be QB10, QB8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prime bounce back candidate. So there you go. Just a few of those. Few potential quarterback bounce backs.
If you don't know, we do answer every question in the chat. It's what we do.
We definitely try to.
If we skip one, it's because either we didn't see it, or for some reason YouTube hates us and just didn't
real
show
quick
it to us.
Before we do that, Kyle has a question right above, like just real quick. Would you rather have in that Mac Jones with Ayuk trade or for Ayuk trade? Would you rather do the 107 this year or a 2023 first? We're both bullish on the 2023 potential.
That 109 that I was talking about before with Rojo's question was kind of the last point where you could get an elite, what I believe to be an elite,
one of the higher end
prospects in this draft.
Yeah.
The 2023 class will be higher and have more higher end players in it than this draft. You're still gonna get a good player at 107.
Mm-hmm.
But you could get a better player at 107 in 2023 than I believe you can get in 2022. The high-end talent in this year's draft at running back, at wide receiver, compares to next year.
Mm-hmm.
My TV went out.
But the 2023 class is deeper.
The 2023 class is deeper in that there isn't just one quarterback that everybody likes and a couple of guys that we're not sure on. There are a couple of quarterbacks in that draft that analysts are pretty sure are going to be good at the next level.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be based on speculation, much more like last year's quarterback draft. Now it might not have a Trevor Lawrence, but the depth in it will be a lot more like last year's quarterback draft than this. Than what is projected for this one. Also, same thing with running backs. There are 3 high-end running back talents, and really some people are speculating really only 2. Spiller and Hall.
Yep.
Some people are kind of coming off of the Kenneth Walker train.
Yeah, they are.
I don't know if I'm there yet, but we'll see.
Yep.
In next year's draft, the running backs are going to go 5 deep, 6 deep.
So would you say personal preference as far as the pick that you're, or are you opting for the 2023 first?
I'm opting for the 2023 first. Sometimes you got to be patient.
Yeah, I can get on board with that. I think I would prefer the 2023 first.
Sometimes you just got to be patient to
107 should be good this year. Honestly, Kyle, if you're set on just getting the first round pick this year for the trade, that's fine. Yeah, there could be a little bit more potential with the 2023 class. So,
yeah, you could always go the route of getting that 107 now and then in the draft trading it for somebody who likes a player at that spot for a 2023 and see if you can get more.
Yeah.
You could go that route, but you risk not having any buyers and being stuck with whoever you get at the 107, and it might not be somebody that you really are in love with. Mm-hmm. Whereas that 2023 pick could really turn into somebody special, even if it is even later than 107. And if by chance they end up with a top 5 pick, you're going to be real happy that you stayed patient.
Yep.
I believe. So, yeah. And, I didn't mean to skip you when I went and addressed Rojo's comment there. I just wanted to let Rojo know we do answer every question in the chat that we can. So, yeah. But thanks for throwing that in there, Kyle.
Yes, sir. Just taking a look at some stuff.
And Rojo, you're in to go back up to some of these other ones. Rojo, you're in love with Kyron, but those fumbles scare you. Yeah, those fumbles are another issue too. So Kyron does come with some bumps, or at least his profile does. Mm-hmm. And it'll be interesting to see how he performs at the combine for sure. But even so, his playing style doesn't quite match up with his frame. Could he be an outlier in that respect? Sure. But I don't typically bet on outliers. But I do like Kyron's upside if he learns to maximize his potential for what he brings to the table, and he goes to a team that enables him to do so as well. And you like Algier, Pierce, and Bam Knight? Yeah, I like Algier. And Pierce, I believe he's the running back who did well at the Senior Bowl, right? He's one of them. I like Algier a lot. I like Jerome Ford, who can be had late as it stands right now. So I like a couple of running backs in this draft too. Not as highly touted a draft as we've had in recent drafts. Last year's running back class was thought to be better than this one, or at least equitable. And the year before that was blew this draft class out of the water, at least from a projection standpoint.
Yes.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And you picked up Mariota and Trubisky in free agency, Rojo Fish. I like that. Good pickups. You should be able to, if you want to, offload them to somebody for more significant draft capital than you would think.
For some assets.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Wilson, Lamar, you have Wilson and Fields are two guys that we both like anyway.
Yep. And we like Lamar a lot. So, yeah.
Oh, well.
If you can get rid of Trubisky and Mariota for
wait to see whoever if we know
maybe in
if we know one of them's going to be a starter. Yeah, flip that guy for a second round pick or something.
In 23. Yeah, I would do that.
Sure. Yeah.
And to get onto this other question you had here, are there any running backs that have underperformed so far that you see breaking out in the future, like a Keyshawn Vaughn or a Kadre Olison type? Nick had Keyshawn Vaughn in his list of players in the buy segment that we did, or in the buy live stream that we did for way too early dynasty buys last week. So speak on him a little bit, bro.
I mean, just that the opportunity is potentially right ahead of him. It's wide open who's going to be the starter for Tampa Bay next year as they shift away from or they shift to a post Tom Brady life. Not just Tom Brady, but Antonio Brown is no longer on the team. Chris Godwin is, by all accounts, expected to move on, sign a big contract somewhere else. So you're talking about some, the volume, the amount of work might be condensed to fewer players. At least in the passing game, it's going to be Mike Evans and guys like Tyler Johnson and Scotty Miller,
Jalen Darden, Cyril Grayson.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then as far as the running backs, I think, Ronald Jones is a free agent.
So is Leonard Fournette.
And Leonard Fournette.
And Gio Bernard.
I'm not sure any of those guys come back. Maybe one of them comes back to, just because, 32 teams deploy more than one back these days. Or maybe it's like
the Buccaneers have $2.3 million in cap space as it stands right now.
And they have no money.
And I believe that is with Tom Brady still on the books there. So I believe they will have more money,
little bit of money
in the future as soon as Tom Brady makes that league official.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think Gronkowski is on. I'm not sure about that.
If Brady's gone, Gronk's not.
Oh yeah, but he's. I think he might still count.
Oh, but he's
the cap is my point. So they will have a decent amount of cap to work with, a lot more than probably about at least 15 teams in the league. Once Brady calls it quits for sure, like legally.
Right. And if
so they could fill in some skill position players there. They could get a running back. They will get a running back to be in the running with Keyshawn Vaughn. But Keyshawn Vaughn is young. He's unproven, but when he's been in, we've seen him do good things. He was very highly touted when he came out. He just went to a team and was buried on a depth chart. But I believe, and I gotta double check this, he was rated higher by some people than CEH coming out. For what that's worth.
I feel like that doesn't sound too far fetched. Vaughn was he a third rounder or a fourth rounder? He had like a third round. I
believe he was a third
rounder. Yeah. So that doesn't sound too far fetched. Yeah, Vaughn had a third round grade. So the draft capital, that's draft capital that's in his favor.
It was higher rated than Antonio Gibson, not CEH, but he was comparable to CEH.
Okay, yeah, there you go. So all of those factors, I think Vaughn's got a decent shot, to be a decent stash, for the 2022 season. I just saw his ADP. I mean, it's down there. It's not very high. 191. So you can have him at the end of drafts, and it's just like, let's take a flyer on this RB, say 4 or 5, who could very well be the starting running back for Tampa Bay, and would be even more enticing if they go all in and get a reputable, a decent starter to replace Brady, as opposed to, pivoting to a rookie or
Trask.
or a journeyman. So I like Vaughn's potential. I definitely do. As for Allison, I mean, Cordero Patterson's a free agent. I mean, if they can't, he could mix in a little bit more. And Mike Davis.
I don't know if I'm putting any money in on Cordero.
I'm not. So I'm just addressing the fact that he named him.
Fair.
Patterson's a free agent. Might be back. Might not be back. The Falcons, I think, the Bucks don't have that much money. The Falcons don't either. So they can't. And they just gave Mike Davis.
No, the Falcons are -7 in cap space right now.
Not great. So
-7 million. That is.
Yeah, they need to allocate their resources elsewhere. So will Allison start or even be like the number 2? I don't know. But there's a non-zero chance that he gets some type of role. I mean, if they bring Patterson back, Davis is on a 2-year deal. That's probably easy for the Falcons to move on from him. I think it was only like a $5 million deal in total. So if they didn't want to retain Mike Davis,
there are other running backs that have underperformed as of late that I could see breaking out in the future over Cordero Ellison. I'm not a huge fan of Cordero Ellison. I don't think that's a horse to tie yourself to. But
no, not necessarily.
A running back that's underperformed that I have in most of my leagues. Miles Sanders didn't score a touchdown last year, failed to reach 1,000 yards for the past 3 seasons. But he doesn't have a lot of tread on his tires. And I believe he's turning 20. He's 24, turning 25, so he's still relatively young and plays for a run-first team. Now is Jalen Hurts, if he continues to play there, going to steal some red zone touchdowns? Absolutely.
Yep.
Is Kenny Gainwell still there and going to get passing down work? Yes.
Yep.
But Miles Sanders fits into that underperforming running backs category, and you can probably get him from an owner that isn't happy with what he's gotten from him for a 2nd-round pick. Maybe a little more, if that.
Redraft ADP of 102.
Yeah. So that's a guy who could bounce back to a certain extent. All he needs to do is score a few touchdowns. That's all he needs to do in order for him to bounce back, is to score a few touchdowns. Touchdown regression should come his way, considering he scored 0.
Yeah, there's quite literally nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, so that's technically a guy that you can buy low on because the owner's probably disgruntled. Speaking as a person that has Miles Sanders in a lot of leagues, I am disgruntled. But I'm willing to continue to hold him because I like the talent. I do.
There you go.
So he's one running back that has underperformed that I could see breaking out. I got to put it in quotations. I'm not real sure he's going to break out, but he's going to have a better fantasy season next year than he did last year. That's pretty much a given if he scores some touchdowns.
I mean, all he's got to do is stay healthy, and you would think.
And you mentioned a running back in the buys live stream. Forgetting who it was. You mentioned another running back.
A buy low.
Yeah.
A buy low at running back. Who did I say?
I think you said to buy Michael Carter.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he's like a bounce back candidate. Maybe he is a little bit. I did say buy Michael Carter.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a buy. I don't know if he's.
I'm not sure if he falls into this category because I don't know. You can bounce back from modest, mild expectations to begin with. But I do like Michael Carter moving forward. It seems like he's going to be a 3-down back for them. That's what it's shaping up to be. Kyle says he's got three firsts already in 2023. That's pretty damn cool. So yeah, if you want 4,
hey, me too. Respect.
If you want 4 and just freaking load up on and just like try to get hit after hit after hit, you'll get Ayuk for 2022. Yeah, do that.
I like that a lot.
And with those wide receivers, you're not dying to get players now. So,
no, you got all young dudes, and they're all good.
Yeah, they're all young,
Chase,
all
Metcalf,
good.
Waddle, Mooney, and Ayuk. You're good.
Great group.
Field and Lance at QB, so you got double stack. Oh, yeah, you got a double stack there.
You good.
You're stacking one with each quarterback. I love that. I love that. And you only have ETN. ETN is another guy that I expect to do good
He's a
things this
buy.
year.
I don't know that he's a buy low.
He's not a buy low, but you already have him, Kyle. So that's awesome.
Right. So
and yeah, Rojo Fish, he underperformed just because he got injured, and he should have a future breakout. If you want to buy low on anybody in that offense, James Robinson.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
he's going to be a free agent after this year.
Somebody's going to have to be willing to.
25.
Yeah.
So if you're playing for the future, if you're playing the long haul game, I would go out and try to trade for James Robinson now. Well, his value is at his lowest, because it is at his lowest. Everybody's high on ETN. Just came off of an injury. There's going to be no news about him for a while. So that's a guy to go after who, as soon as next season, could be the feature backs elsewhere. Should be a feature back elsewhere.
Or in 2023, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. As far as Penny, yeah, I guess I'm not sure. Does he fit? I mean, did he do enough to like not be in that conversation anymore?
He doesn't fit in that conversation for me, because I believe through the last 6 weeks of the season, he was RB2 overall.
He popped big time.
I don't think you can buy low on him. Yes, he has technically perennially underperformed. But you're not buying him at an underperforming Rashad Penny price.
Right.
Is he a buy? Some people have comped him to Derrick Henry as a big back who didn't get it done early in his career, and we've finally seen a dominant stretch from a big running back who is also a home run hitter, because he can run through contact and get to that second level and break away. He is that type of running back. That is the type of running back the Seattle Seahawks wanted in him when they drafted him. Just hasn't happened up to this point. Can he stay healthy? I don't know. But he has,
for his sake,
little
hopefully,
to no tread on his tires.
Almost none.
And he comps to that Derrick Henry archetype. Is he Derrick Henry? No.
Henry's 6'3", yeah. Penny, I think, is under 6 feet tall.
Is he?
Probably, yeah. Yeah. And I think Henry's probably got at least 20 pounds on him. Penny's...
he is 5'11". For some reason, when I see him on the field, he seems bigger than...
But he's 220 pounds. He's not like a little... He's not a scat back. I mean, he can play like a scat back, but he's bigger than a scat back, because he can. I say he can play like that because he can catch the ball. So honestly, he's kind of like he's got a good overall build. Derrick Henry's an outlier because he's just attractive.
Yeah, that was a misplaced comparison.
But Penny's got the size. He's got the makeup.
I see similar play styles from an athletic makeup. Yeah, not quite the same guy.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, he's kind of close to the mold of, last year's RB1. Like, Taylor's, I think, around 5'10", 220. Now, Taylor's probably got some more muscle.
Yeah, but play style, I wouldn't say they're similar.
Play style, they're not the same.
They're not similar.
Like, size, their build, I would say if you're trying to find like a similar build, then they're similar. No, Penny's, I would say I feel like you can more confidently rely on him as a pass catcher. So, yeah, I mean, for a couple second round picks, okay, so you got the 201 and the 2023 second,
which technically based off of what you had gotten from him, and where I sold him for a third like 2 years ago, because he was giving everybody basically nothing. And somebody was high on him coming into two off seasons ago.
Yeah.
So the fact that you got 2 seconds, one in what should be a very good draft, and one was the 201. So basically, it is the highest second round pick you can get. I think that's solid.
Yeah. He's already 26, so he's an older. I know. Yeah. There's no tread on his tires.
If you traded with the guy older. That had the 201, there's a good chance he's going to be in that range next season.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 2 high seconds for Rashad Penny.
Good with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good
Fine
with that. Because, yes, he has upside, but he's a complete unknown and an injury risk. So, yeah.
More so than your average guy. Yep. So, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't think you pulled the trigger prematurely, dude.
And Iron said he could get him for a late first. I think.
Hey, if you can get a late first for Penny, I would do that.
Yeah, I think I would too. I think I would as well. Like, you get younger.
But if you have declined, if somebody has offered you Penny for a late first and you have declined,
come back and
see
ask
if
for a
you
little
can
extra.
get a little more, squeeze a little bit more out of him. See if you can get a third in 2023.
Sure.
But yeah, sure. I think I would go.
But ultimately,
I would trade
if they say like,
Penny for a
first, and that's it. But I'll still do the deal. Yeah, Iron. I think I would say yes to that. I know Penny's intriguing, but a first-round pick is a first-round pick for a guy who has so far to this point in his career underperformed.
Are we expecting a breakout from a 26-year-old running back? And are we expecting that breakout to be an extended long-term, like lead to extended long-term fantasy success, or are we looking at maybe a 1-year stopgap at running back?
I mean, given the uncertainty about Chris Carson, I would think he's like Penny is set up to have a good 2022. After that, yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's what my question was.
It's fair to call into question
sustained success. I think you can count on him for one season,
maybe a couple seasons, maybe. But yeah,
I would on him having. I
would take a first. If there's a first round pick on the table, and Iron, you've so far been saying no, come back and say, yeah, like John said, like, all right, throw me a third in 2023 and you got a deal. If they say no, but I'll still do the first, I think I would say, you know what? All right, I'm gonna pull the trigger on this. As long as you're not razor thin at running back, and you're not, as a result of a trade, you just have to start like a live body as your RB2.
Hey, try to get 2/3. Sure, a lot of people don't value thirds at all. Try to get a third this year and a third next year.
Sure.
Yeah.
I would get the picks, Iron. I would say get if a first is on the table and you could like maybe negotiate an extra little something like a third rounder in 23. Yeah, I say go for it. Penny at best will have a nice season next year, maybe another good season after that, and then it's like, who knows? He'll be 28 at that point. Russell Wilson could very likely have moved on. It could be the offense could be trending down.
Be barren there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could make him add Nico Collins, sure. I would do that. Yeah, try that. But if not, 2/3. I mean,
I'd be fine with that too.
If you need $5, don't ask for 3, ask for 10. So,
boom.
I didn't make that up. That was
I like it though. It's a good way to.
Yeah, that was. If any of y'all like De La Soul, it's on one of their songs. But hey, I think we've reached the end of the chat here.
Yeah, I think we're about wrapping this up. But this was awesome. Appreciate everybody. There was a bit of a hiccup with
thanks for sticking with us.
Thanks for sticking with us and finding us again.
And thanks for subbing, Alfonso and Rojo Fish. Thanks for finding us. Thanks for
welcome aboard.
Subbing. Thanks for for giving us that super chat. Appreciate it. And we will be here 2 times a week for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6 p.m. EST. So tune in with us 2 times a week. We might up that to even more, depending on what our availability is like moving forward and what we what we feel like doing. But apart from our live streams, we also have some good videos coming, and we will ramp up moving towards the combine, and after the combine towards the draft. So stay tuned, and once we ramp up, we'll be at it every day. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for sticking with us through the technical difficulties. We won't make them a thing. I'll talk to everybody on my block, tell them not to start fires.
Yeah. Reel in those hair curlers or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. It's those
started it.
Whatever. But yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Get your block under control.
Have a great few days, and hopefully we'll see you in 2 days.
Yep, sounds good. Have a good one, everybody.